Welcome to the Every Brain is Different podcast. It is Samantha and Lauren here with you, and today we have Katey Fortun back with us. She has been on the podcast before. She is a disability advocate. She is, especially with dyslexia, she is dyslexic, and she is a speaker, and she has her own podcast called, what's your podcast called?
The Different Ability podcast.
Yes, thank you. I almost said Every Brain is Different, and I was like, that's our podcast. But her book is officially launched. It's called Embracing Your Different Ability. And I love this book because of obviously what's in it, but it comes in like a typical book, and then in dyslexic like print, and then it's an audiobook. I got the audiobook, or I would be holding up her book, but I got the audiobook. So I listened to it and I loved it. I loved listening to you, and it's so good. So congratulations on the book.
Yes, congrats.
Super excited about it. Yeah. So we have some questions. I'm not going to let you talk. I'm just going to dive into the questions. Apparently.
Don't worry, I actually took over my other friends. I was on her podcast. I took over and started interviewing her, and she's like, "Excuse me." I'm like, sorry.
That's awesome. Okay. So the first question is, what inspired you to write your book?
Honestly, God, I wish I'm better at these. I, for some reason, deep down, have always wanted to write a book. And I don't know when I was younger, if it was because I wanted to be like, I'm an author, or air quotes, right? Like all these things. And I kept talking myself out of it. And then back in late 2023, I don't know, it was like fall. I was on a walk listening to a podcast episode and got inspired and just started typing things down in my phone as I'm on this walk in the middle of nowhere. And I'm like, I gotta write this book. So then January of 2024, I told my husband, January 1st, that I'm going to do one new thing this year. Because for anyone that knows me, my truly undiagnosed ADHD comes in and I'm like a squirrel. Like, idea here, squirrel, idea here. I am never out of ideas. It's exhausting, to be honest. So I told him I'm doing one new thing, and he was kind of like, okay, let's see, just like laughing at me, because like, really, I'm doing 150,000 things at one time. So I told him I wanted to write this book, and he's like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. Of course, very supportive, so grateful. And then in March of that year, so just a few months later, I get an email from someone that I follow, and I'm on their email list, Jenna Kutcher. And I liked her podcast. I know she's not doing it anymore, but the title of it was Want to Write a Book. And I'm like, yes, Jenna, I actually do. Thank you. So I clicked on it, and then she was actually promoting a company that helps you self-publish your book. So long story short, I dove in March 26th of 2024, and crazy enough, 2 years to the date, and I did not plan this, my book was published. It's crazy.
That's amazing.
It's crazy because like when I self-published it, so it's on Amazon right now, and then I'm getting it into a lot of bookstores and all that stuff. So it's more like local, because I'm a local lover over here, and libraries and all that good stuff. But I wanted it to publish it the 25th of March. And my book coach and I were doing all the things. Well, Amazon doesn't let you publish it under a week out. So I was like, oh, we just missed the deadline. The 26th is fine. And then I was laying in bed that night, and I'm like, why does that date? Like, I just felt off. Like something was weird, but in a good way. And I looked back. That was literally the day I signed up for a team to help me write this book. And I was like, what? So yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. So yeah, tell us a little bit about the book. Who did you have in mind when you were writing it, and who's it for, and just the general themes, I guess?
Yeah. So thanks. Honestly, the book was written for my 8-year-old self. It was for little Katey that didn't know she was dyslexic, that struggled, that felt dumb, stupid, and alone. And it makes me tear up every time. Every time I talk about it, I think I'm going to do better, and I don't. I don't even have any Kleenex. I don't want any child to feel that way. And I know how I felt. I've heard since publishing the book, other people have felt that, and it breaks my heart, but also makes me feel good that we're not alone, right? And so I wrote it for her initially, and then once I started writing it, the first, oh my God, I don't even know how many chapters, but a lot of chapters, I literally cried through writing them. So it was like the most therapeutic thing for me to ever do. And also, I want to make this very clear. I don't like writing. I'm dyslexic. I don't like reading, writing, terrible at spelling. Like, no. And here I am. Let's go write a book. It just so happens to be 28 chapters long. Like, what? So I started writing it, and it just kept coming out of me. And I really want kids specifically to feel seen, heard, and understood. But that also goes through their parents or their guardians or their teachers. So it's terrible because there's so many outlets these days that are like, niche down, know who you're talking to. I'm talking to everyone. So just like anyone, it's for everyone. I'm doing everything they tell me not to do, which is pretty standard for me. So
Love it.
but I really wanted it to be for anyone that picked up the book. And I truly believe it is. And again, thankfully I've heard from people, which is wonderful to feel like, oh, wow, I wasn't just making this up in my brain, but parents, teens, I even had middle schoolers read the book. And so far, and I'm like crying, again, emotional, but I was crying like, what? They loved it. Like, what are you talking? Like, this is so exciting. So it's definitely, and I mean, Samantha, you listened to it, but it's definitely an easy read because it's just like I'm talking to them. That was the goal for me. I didn't want it to feel like, especially going through the editing process, I was like, you cannot take out my voice. Do not put in, like, there was one time they put in a weird word. I'm like, can't pronounce that. Why would I ever write that?
Never say that.
I would never say a word like that. So it is, as much as I could have it very me. Of course, the editors were amazing and helped make it sound like I wasn't truly a squirrel writing this book. But yeah, to answer that question is a long roundabout way. It is for everyone, but initially it started out to heal that little girl inside, or start healing her and letting her voice be heard, because it's been living in me for 37 years. So
Yeah, that's what I like about it, is it's very you. So you sent me a few chapters to read before the book came out, and I read it in your voice. I could hear you talking as I was reading it, and that's a big part of why I got the audiobook, because I wanted to hear you saying all that, because it is exactly how you talk, exactly how you would word things from what I know of you.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so good. And then your mom also wrote some chapters,
Yes.
and that was really awesome. So you could see it. What I like about it is you see it from your perspective as a kid, and then what your mom was thinking and what you were thinking could be side by side. So we could be like, oh, so I'm a parent and I'm seeing this in my kid, but maybe this is what's actually going on in their head. So one of the questions I had to ask you was, how can parents tell the difference between a child who won't and a child who can't? And I think you addressed that really well in your book. Can you just elaborate on that?
Yeah, I want to make it very clear. I don't have all the answers. This book is my story, and this is what I went through and what my mom went through. And early on, you mentioned my mom writing, and I didn't even say anything yet. Sorry. Yes, my mom wrote chapters in the book. It started out with one, because it was late at night and I was typing in my bed, which you shouldn't do. Again, all the things you're not supposed to do. And I was like, I've been speaking since 2012, and I've been telling my mom's story, like what she's told me in the past. And when I started typing it, I was like, this feels wrong. I should not be typing her story. So I texted her at like 9 o'clock at night. Again, late for your girl, Katey. And I said to her, "Hey, Mom, random question. Would you mind writing a chapter in my book from your point of view?" And I was watching the three dots. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's typing. And so she's like, "Wait, are you serious?" "Absolutely, I'd be honored." And I'm like, yes. And I called her the next day, but I was like, I don't feel right. I don't feel right telling your story. I want your voice. Like physically, yes, because she's in the audiobook, but also through the written word, I want her to share her story. And I did have one rule for her. I said, you have to be completely honest. Not that she wouldn't have been, but I'm like, if it was not good, like you thought bad, like terrible things, you have to write that. Because I know another parent probably felt something like that one time or two,
Yeah.
or is struggling through that right now. And she's like, absolutely. I knew my mom. She's like an open book as well. So she was very vulnerable, very open and honest. And one chapter turned into two and then turned into three because we needed so much more of my mom. So I'm very grateful for her for that. But I don't know if I have the full answer to answer your question, but I know looking back now when I was young, and I talk about this in the book, and I think my mom does too, in one sentence, I would know a word, like the word what. Literally the simple word what. And then two sentences down, I wouldn't know the word. And my mom, I'm the oldest. That's the other tough thing. My mom would be like, "Oh my gosh, Katey," like she thought I was being a stinker. And I wasn't, because I literally didn't see the word the same. And I know she writes in the book how she felt really guilty, but I'm also like, Mom, if we didn't go through any of this, we wouldn't have this story to share. And so we don't know what we don't know. But I think maybe just taking a step back, especially if you're a parent that is a really good reader. This is specifically to dyslexia and reading disabilities. But if you are a parent and you're really good, my mom is an amazing, she reads books a week. Like, gross. Just like, who does this? Now, I'll listen to books a week, but I'm like, you just sit there and read books? Like, what?
Who are you?
Really? And so I'm like, oh, gross. So she's really good at reading. And then she has her oldest daughter that is not. And she didn't know what was going on. And she did contact the schools. She did talk to teachers. But dang it, I was really good at falling through the cracks and being good enough, air quotes, and getting really good grades in school. But we were sitting at home every single night crying at the kitchen table trying to get my homework done. So I feel like I didn't really answer that question, but I would just encourage people to step back and say, hold on. Everyone does learn differently. There might be something different going on, whether it's a learning disability or there's something else going on at school. I mean, there's bullying, there's different things. Kids go through a lot. And so and again, my mom did a great job. I'm making that very clear. She only knew what she only knew. And she mentions back then, we didn't have the internet like we do now. And we didn't have the resources or the groups that we do now. So if you're struggling with your child, I would definitely start reaching out to other people you know, so you as a parent don't feel alone. Because my mom didn't talk to a lot of people until after I was diagnosed. And then she started helping more people about it, which is wonderful. And I didn't answer that, did I?
No, you did. So I think what you said was important. Like, just take a step back and think about, what is my child gaining from not doing this task? Like, I'm asking them to read. Okay, they're not reading. Well, that just means they're sitting at the table for longer. So maybe think about why they're doing that. And it would be different if your child came up and you're like, okay, you have to read this. And they're like, no. And then you're like, okay, you can leave. Well, obviously they're getting what they want. But for you, you said you sat at the table for hours, like tears. And
Yeah.
I saw this with someone that I know, like all through her childhood, she struggled to do her homework. She would do hours of homework in elementary school every day after school. And it's the same. It sounds like the same story as you. Like, her and her mom would sit there and she'd cry and she'd do really well in school when she was at school because they worked so hard at home. And so the teachers didn't see anything wrong. And so when she went and got assessed for visual processing disorder, and the doctor said, "Oh, you probably get like D's and F's in school, right?" And she said, "No, I get A's and B's." And he was like, "How? You have the worst visual processing disorder I've ever seen."
Mm-hmm.
And it's because they sat at the table. So if her mom would have been like, "You're just faking it." Well, what did she gain by faking it, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's important to see if your kid is not doing something, what are they getting for not doing that?
Mm-hmm.
And if they are getting like out of doing the task, then yeah, maybe they are faking it, that they can't
Mm-hmm.
do it. But if you're making them sit there and they're missing playtime for hours, there might be something else going on.
Default to the can't and then investigate
Yeah.
to see
Yeah.
if it's a won't.
Yeah.
Well, and that's so true. And the interesting thing too is the teachers didn't see what was going on at home, of course, not their fault. But also, like I vividly remember being the quietest, shyest person ever in school. Like, yeah, I had friends, but I was always the quiet one and didn't want to speak up in class. I wasn't the one misbehaving. I was always doing good, like, but I didn't want, don't, like, teacher wants you to raise your hand. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Like putting your head down. Oh, let's go around the room and read. Are you kidding me? I'm making a public service announcement. Teachers, anyone listening, do not make kids read out loud if they don't want to. Popcorn should be burned as a thing in school. And it's not just for people with dyslexia. I know people that don't, and they hated it. It's like, please stop. This is like traumatic. It's still traumatic for me. And just so you know, especially Samantha, because you said you listened to the audio, that was the worst experience of my life reading the audiobook, my own audiobook. Now, I made it a positive, and I'm grateful I did it. I did not want to, I didn't want someone else to be reading my book. So it sucked. It's just like, it was the worst. I did read it though in the dyslexic font, and that was very helpful. But
Nice.
I mean, maybe, I don't know what the parent-teacher conferences were like when I was a kid or anything like that, but maybe a little bit more conversation, because when I got home, I was this rambunctious, crazy, having fun kid, and at school, I was a totally different kid. Now, after I was diagnosed, my parents say, still to this day, they tell me, it's like someone put a quarter in her and she never shut up again, like after I was diagnosed. And so I remember that. I remember that day. I felt, oh my gosh, I'm not dumb, stupid, or alone. I just learned differently. Okay. And again, it wasn't easy moving forward still, but I didn't feel like I was less than.
Yeah. I think that's the most important thing of why kids should be diagnosed when they have something going on. Parents ask me all the time, "Well, I don't want my kid to have a label, so why should I get them diagnosed?" And I say, because they're already labeled. They're
Yeah.
already, even if other people don't
Or
label,
they're labeling themselves.
yeah, they're labeling themselves. They think I did very well in school, but socially, I didn't appear to struggle, but inwardly I was like, I talk too much, I'm too emotional, I'm too this, I'm too that. When I got diagnosed with ADHD, it was the most validating thing I think that's ever happened to me. And so I can only imagine if you're struggling to read and you're like, well, everyone else seems to be doing it just fine. What's wrong with me? I must be stupid. I must be lazy. I'm not trying hard enough. And so getting that diagnosis can be very validating. And then you can get resources to help you. So like you can get an IEP, you can get an accommodation plan, whatever. So yeah, that's why I think getting a diagnosis is so important, because people are labeling themselves anyway. And
Yeah.
Might as well give them
No.
more correct labels.
Yeah. Well, first of all, like this is such a stupid thing to say. I don't even care. But we wear labels, like the different types of clothing and all these things. What is so wrong with a label? And Lauren, what you said too, I think is correct. You're labeling yourself. And that was what I was doing. Like kids would get up from taking tests way before I was even close to being done. And I'd be like, I am so stupid. And the really hard part about writing the book was actually having my mom read it. And she called me like, she's not a crier. Like, I don't know where I get my crying from, but my God. But she had tears in her eyes and she told me, I did not know this. She didn't know most of those stories in the beginning of the whole book. And so on some of our bonus podcasts and YouTube episodes that we did for the book, like she said, she's like, I'm super grateful we did this. Because I learned more about my child, and I'm 37 years old. And so it's never too late to learn about yourself ever. I was diagnosed at 10. So thankfully, between 4th and 5th grade, I was diagnosed. To me, it's still too late because I had so many traumatizing things in elementary school. And I feel like I pushed it down and blocked it out. And then when I wrote the book, it came up, but then I pushed it back down because I was like, get out of here. I don't like you. But no, it was really great. Being diagnosed was the best day of my life. I say that all the time to everyone. What's your best day? Being diagnosed with dyslexia changed my life.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I know adults that haven't been diagnosed with dyslexia, and you talk a little bit about your dad realizing that he had dyslexia. And I know adults that their whole life they couldn't read well, and they're like, well, I'm just stupid.
Yes.
And I'm like, obviously not, because you live a very successful life just because you can't read very well. Like, look at all these other things. I know people that have multi-million-dollar businesses and they cannot read. And yeah,
If you look at a lot of the successful entrepreneurs, and whatever success looks like to you, by the way, it doesn't have to be just money or anything.
yeah.
They're all dyslexic. Richard Branson, the Virgin Airline guy that has all the, he's dyslexic. And there's so many other people. I think Whoopi Goldberg is dyslexic. And that's crazy. Like, I'm like, being an actor, you have to memorize your lines and read off of a prompter. My worst nightmare. But good for them. And I'm loving that people are talking more about it. That goes with dyslexia, ADHD, autism, people on the spectrum. I love all of this because everyone's like, so many people are like more of this nowadays. No, they're not. You just weren't diagnosed. Okay.
Yeah.
You were just pushed aside. Like, what?
Yeah. I even tried for 10 years to get diagnosed, and they're like, well, you did really well in school and you are successful in your adult life. So, even if you've had it, you don't need to be diagnosed. So it's very validating to get a diagnosis, though. So
it really is. Everyone I've talked to said it was. Every single person I've talked to a lot. I've been doing my podcast for 6 years?
Wow.
6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
Every single person. I had a lady come on and tell me that she works with people to learn about dyslexia. And I think the lady was in her 70s or 80s, maybe 90s, upper age range. And she got diagnosed and it was the best day of her life. And I'm like, that is the most beautiful thing. And she got to learn all these different things. But specifically with dyslexia, I joke with my mom a lot. And I'm like, I feel really bad for you, Mom. And she's like, oh my God, why? And I'm like, you don't have a cool brain like me. I'm like,
love it.
I'm like, Mom, you can't shut your eyes and build a house in front of you when it's not there. You can't. And she's just like, yeah, I know, Katey. You try to tell me these. We were out in Colorado on our land, and I'm like, Mom, visualize it. And she's like standing there in the dirt. It's dirt, Katey. It's just dirt. Like, she did not. So it is a little part of why I went into I loved interior design and architecture, but she was actually an inspiration for me going into that and wanting to make sure that I knew and did 3D renderings and designs, because not everyone can, I can look at a floor plan and I know exactly what that house is going to look like. My mom's like, that's a bunch of lines on paper. That doesn't mean anything to me. I'm like, Mom, that's a door. It's just boxes. Nope, it's just a line with a curve. That's a door, Mom. No, it's not. Okay. So that has been really, really nice too. And again, the moral of everything is everyone learns differently. Everyone does things in the world differently. And I'm here to celebrate it, not put people in boxes. Let's break down all the boxes and let's all work together on our strengths and even in the areas that we can improve on.
Yeah. Love that. I love it. Okay. We have some closing questions for you. If a parent listening today feels overwhelmed, what's one thing you want them to hear from you?
It's going to be okay.
Love it.
It's going to be even more than okay. It's going to be beautiful and amazing. Yeah. You're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And your kid is too.
Love it. Love it. And then what gives you hope for the future of children who may have disabilities?
Oh, like if I visualize life, like now, because I'm like, it's happening right now. I'm not very patient if you can't tell either. Like when someone says the other day, someone said something about their son being on the spectrum. I'm like, that's awesome. And they're like, looked at me and I'm like, oh, sorry. I celebrate that over here. But for real, I'm not sorry. That's awesome. And then we went and talked more about it. And she was super cool. Like it wasn't anything, but she was just like, I didn't hear that all the time, you know? And so being able to celebrate it. So I just imagine little Katey being like, yeah, I'm dyslexic. And then everyone else, heck yeah, and high fives them and is celebrating everyone's differences and things that they're similar in or whatever in this world that we all don't have to feel alone or like we are the only ones dealing with this problem, which we are not. Like there are so many people in the world that have walked in a similar path that you can learn from and grow from and just embrace who you are and get out in the world and then keep embracing others as well.
Yes. Embrace yourself, embrace others. Yes. And then where can our listeners find your book, find more about you? Where do you want them to go for all the things?
Great question. I didn't tell you guys this beforehand, so I should have. I put together, I don't want to call it a freebie, but it's like a welcome package for my book. And it's just specifically for podcasts and speaking engagements and things like that I do. So if you're listening to this and you're wondering about the book and you want to experience it, test it out, see if it's something that you want to go research, go get at the library, I'm giving away the first 2 chapters in the standard font and the dyslexic font, first 2 chapters of the audiobook, and then I have the first 2 chapters of the YouTube videos and podcast episodes, and in many of the chapters, but in chapter 1, I do have a lot of different resources that I put together that that's helped me in my past and things I've done in school or things that I've learned in my 37 years of life. So I have a worksheet that you'll also get as well for free. That is in chapter 1, but it'll come in a nice little email all in one place for you. I actually just finished it up today. So if you want to just check it out and you're like, is this for me? And I wanted to make sure too, because before I'm like, oh, I'll just do the PDFs. And I'm like, I would hate that. I want to listen to it. So you can go check all that out at www.yourdifferentability.com/welcome.
Nice.
And you can
we'll
learn
have
so
that
much more.
link. We'll have that link in there. Yeah, for sure.
You can learn so much more there too. All you have to do, you can go on the page and you can check it all out and then put your name and email in and it'll email you directly right after you hit submit. And then, you can just check it out and learn more about it. But you can learn so much more about the book, the journey my mom and I went on and everything on that same website without the welcome. So you can go check it all out. So
sweet. I love it. Yes. And then is there anything that you wish people asked you that we didn't ask you that you would like to speak on before we end?
It's not really more of an ask. I just would like people to, if you have a dream and you have something that you really want to do, even if it sounds absolutely ridiculous, which this felt so ridiculous for me, to write a book and then read the book and do audio and everything else in between. If I can do it, you can do it too. Because again, I hate reading, guys. I do not like reading traditionally. I love books. I just read with audio. And so if you have some crazy dream or whatever that looks like, great. If you think it's crazy, it's even better. Go do it.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions, you can always reach out. I'm always willing. And Samantha and Lauren, I'll get you links and things if you want to share it and all that good stuff. But go get those dreams because we only get one life to live, and learn more about yourself, get out there and go after it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I love the book. So everyone go check out your welcome package. And thank you so much for being on the show.
Yes. And thank you so much for saying such nice things, Samantha. I really appreciate it. I did not know you got the audio. So that makes me so happy that you checked it out. And you can get the audio on all platforms, by the way. And then again, right now Amazon's the place. If you want it in your local area, reach out to me, let me know, because I'm getting into all the bookstores and libraries, schools, all that kind of stuff. So there's much more is to come.
Awesome. Love it. Okay. Thank you. Okay, Lauren. She is just one of my
And-
favorite people.
She's just got the best vibes,
Yeah.
best personality. Like,
Yeah. And I
she's
love,
amazing.
yeah. I love her message.
Yeah.
Yes. And her book, phenomenal.
Yeah.
So.
You kind of asked about the won't versus can't, and I kind of just want to go back to that. The can't should be the default. We talk about all the time, a kid's not doing something to purposely make us mad. A lot of the times there's something deeper going on. And so I just think as a parent, and you are struggling with certain things, to default to that can't and be the investigator, the detective, before we jump to the won't. So I just kind of wanted to reiterate that.
Yeah.
And then she talks about, like, we're not stuck in a box. A label is not a box. And so I wanted to, like, getting a label can be very beneficial and, affirming and all of that stuff, but that doesn't mean you're stuck in a box that people might think that label should be in. And just what she just said at the end, we're often our own roadblocks. So if you have a dream, no matter how ridiculous or crazy it might seem to you, like, try and follow it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
So follow your dreams, guys.
Yes. She is amazing. And
Yeah.
I just love what she's done.
Yeah.
With her work and everything. So go check her out. And yeah, if you have any questions, any other questions about raising your neurodivergent kid, check out our guide to raising your neurodivergent child at everybrainsdifferent.com. And we'll see you next time.